billion people in the world, but you're one in a million. They ain't never seen, no, nothing like you, no, nothing like you. A diamond in the rough, yeah, you're shining like a star.
Oh, you caught me looking in the mirror. I don't know. Sometimes I look in the mirror. Do you guys ever look in the mirror and you think, I wish this were different? Well, I'll be honest, this isn't my real hair color, but I kind of like it. It's fun. It's who I am and how I like to do my hair these days. But when I was a kid, I used to not like this freckle underneath my eye. I remember thinking I was super self-conscious. If people see that, they might think that that's weird. It's in a weird spot. I was insecure about it. And you know what? I actually used to not like the name Holly. In fact, I really did not like the name Holly. I thought when I was 18, I'm going to change my name, maybe to Jackie or something, because that's what I used to name all my baby dolls. Jackie 1, Jackie 2, Jackie 3, Jackie 4, Jackie 5. I had a lot of baby dolls. And I don't know. I'm a lot older than 18 now, and honestly, I don't know a lot of other Hollies. I've met one, and I don't know a lot of people who have a little freckle like that underneath their right eye. I'm beginning to think that I'm a little made different, maybe a little unique. And the more I learn about the Bible, the more I learn about God's creation and all that He makes in the world. I mean, last week, guys, it rained, it poured. It was like a little river out in front of our street and at church. And it was glorious. It was perfect. It was just the way God intended. The birds chirp when God tells them to chirp. And they go south when God tells them to go south. And the baby bears are born in the woods when God tells the baby bears when to be born. Everything in creation honors God and how they were made. But humans, now we're born with a will of our own. We have a free will. We can choose to like the way God made us, or we can frown upon it. We can be insecure about the size of our ears and nose for the rest of our lives, or we can say, hey, thanks God, I can hear and I can smell, and I'm grateful for that, and I'm made exactly the way you made me. How about you? When you look in the mirror, do you like what you see? Do you frown upon it? I hope, guys, that you look in the mirror and you are saying, thank you, God. Thank you that I have what it takes to make me an individual. Thank you that you made me different from everybody else. Because if we were all the same, that would be so boring. So boring. I wouldn't want to see all of me everywhere. That would get so annoying. So I'm glad that we're made individually and unique and different. Today, when you listen to and watch our video, I hope that you just think about yourself a little bit differently. I hope you think of creation a little bit differently, and that you remember that you were made creatively, uniquely, on purpose, and for a purpose. We love you guys. We hope we see you at Grove Kids, and we'll see you next week. Take care. Enjoy the video.
The Bible. It's 66 books of history, stories, letters, and poetry that fit together to form God's one big story. The epic adventure of how He created us and loves us so much that He made a way to rescue us. As we travel through the Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, we discover people who met God and found their lives changed forever. Now, for an amazing story, inspired by the book of Genesis, chapter 1, verses 26 through 28.
In the beginning, God took nothing and made everything. From darkness, God called out light.
God poured out waters and stretched the sky far overhead like an unpainted canvas. He shaped dry land and canyons and great mountain ranges, and then decked them out with trees and vines and plants of every kind. God spun the moon and sun and stars and planets out into space, and then He filled the oceans with fish and the sky with birds. God thought up an amazing variety of animals to crawl and hop and race over the earth.
All of this was incredible. unbelievable, the most artistic show of power ever. God made complex atoms and cells smaller than the eye can see, all the way up to vast spaces stretching across the universe farther than we can imagine. And yet, all of this was just a warm-up to God's most spectacular creation, people. People. It's true. We're made of the same atoms and cells and elements as rocks and plants and animals. But unlike anything else in God's creation, we are made in God's image. Then God said,
"Let us make human beings so that they are like us. Let them rule over the fish in the seas and the birds in the sky. Let them rule over the livestock and all the wild animals. And let them rule over all the creatures that move along the ground." So, God created human beings in His own likeness. He created them to be like Himself. He created them as male and female. You are made in God's image. Now, that does not mean God shares your eye color, or your freckles, or even your quirky smile. But it does mean that you were designed for God to shine through you. You were made to show the world God's love, God's grace and mercy, God's joy, God's peace, God's kindness, God's wisdom. You and every person you'll ever meet are of infinite value because you're made in the image of God. And here's what's even more amazing. God didn't design us to turn into a bunch of little robots who look and act the same when we follow Him. Instead, the more time you spend with God, asking Him to transform your thoughts and words and choices, the more you become uniquely you. As you follow Jesus and reflect God's light more clearly, you'll be able to do the things that God has designed for you and no one else. So, next time you look in the mirror, remember, you're looking at the image of God, and no one in this world can reflect Him just the way you do.